All right, let's venture into the deep, dark, and just wonderfully complicated world of Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine's masterpiece, Into the Woods.
You know, the whole show really hinges on this one question. A question that totally flips every fairy tale you've ever heard right on its head. It's not about finding the prince or slaying the giant. Nope. It's about what happens the day after, when real life kicks in.
And Into the Woods is the show that actually dares to answer that question. It grabs all these characters we know, Cinderella, Jock, Little Red Riding Hood, and mashes their stories together to see what happens, to explore the really messy, often hilarious, and sometimes tragic consequences of getting exactly what you wished for. So, let's dive into Act 1. Now this part feels familiar, right? It feels just like the classic stories we all grew up hearing. And it's all powered by that one simple, super powerful word, wish. See, every single one of our main characters starts their journey with this desperate wish. Cinderella just wants to escape her awful stepmother and go to the festival. Jack and his mom, they really need their cow to start giving milk again. And right at the heart of it all, you've got a baker and his wife who want nothing more in the world than to have a child. Everybody's got a goal, a dream, and it sends them all running straight into the woods. But here's the twist. The main thing kicking this whole story off is a curse. The baker and his wife can't have a baby because their next-door neighbor, who happens to be a witch, put a curse on their family line. And this curse, well, it's the engine that drives the whole plot forward, forcing them onto a quest that crosses paths with literally every other character's story. So to break this curse, the witch gives them a list, a kind of magical scavenger hunt. They need 4 very specific things, and I bet you can guess where they're going to find them, right? Jack's cow, Little Red's cape, Rapunzel's hair, and Cinderella's slipper. It's just a brilliant way to make all these totally separate fairy tales crash into each other. And you know what? By the end of the first act, it actually works. I mean, everything works. The curse is broken, the baker and his wife get their baby, Cinderella gets her prince, Jack is suddenly rich, everybody gets exactly what they wanted. The curtain falls and you're thinking, wow, what a perfect storybook ending. But then comes Act 2. And this, right here, is where the real story kicks off. That happily ever after, that was just the setup. Now we have to deal with the fallout. And this is where the show gets brutally honest. Cinderella, she finds out her prince is a cheater, and that palace life is, well, kind of a bore. Jack's little adventure with the beanstalk, it brings a furious, vengeful giantess down from the sky. The baker's wife is killed, and the witch, she gets her beauty back, but in the process, she loses all of her magic. Turns out, every single wish came with a terrible, terrible price tag. So the main problem in Act 2 isn't some witch's curse anymore. No, it's a very real, very deadly threat. The giantess is furious that Jack killed her husband, and now she's just tearing the kingdom apart. All of our characters now have to face a disaster that, let's be honest, their own choices helped create. So you see, this isn't just some dark fairy tale. The woods, the setting itself, becomes this place where you learn some really profound, really adult lessons about life. Faced with total annihilation, what's the very first thing these characters do? They start pointing fingers. They blame each other. There's this incredible song called Your Fault, where they literally trace back the chain of events, and every single one of them refuses to take any responsibility for the mess they're in. It's such a perfect and kind of painful look at human nature when things go wrong. And who is it that speaks the clearest truth in this moment of total crisis? The witch, of course. With this absolutely iconic line, she just throws out the simple ideas of good and evil. She's basically saying that in a complicated world, being right, seeing things exactly as they are, is way more important and honestly a lot harder than just being nice. So in the end, the show really forces everyone, the characters on stage and us in the audience, to wrestle with some heavy stuff. It's about growing up, it's about the complex ways parents and children relate, and it's about realizing that your own individual wishes can have absolutely devastating consequences for everyone around you. But the show doesn't leave you in complete despair. It ends with this beautiful, beautiful realization. The survivors, the baker, Cinderella, Jack, and Little Red, they finally get it. They can't just be out for themselves anymore. They have to come together, form this new, kind of broken little family, and face whatever comes next with a shared sense of responsibility. No one is alone, truly. And it's this incredibly powerful message that explains why Into the Woods has had such a massive, enduring legacy, from its very first night on Broadway all the way to the big screen.
I mean, the show's journey has been just amazing. Right from its Tony-winning premiere back in '87, through multiple award-winning revivals, it has been consistently hailed as a work of genius. Its most recent revival in 2022 even nabbed a Grammy, decades after the original did. That tells you something. And its reach goes way beyond the theater world. The 2014 Disney movie, In It with Meryl Streep as the Witch, a massive global hit. It grossed over $213 million, which just proves that these really complex adult ideas resonate with audiences all over the world.
So after going on this whole journey, through the wishes, the terrible consequences, and the hard-won lessons, what's the one thing we should really carry with us when we leave the woods? I think it's this. Fairy tales kind of lie to us when they suggest that life has some neat, tidy ending. Life isn't a happily ever after, it's a series of and then what moments. It's messy, it's this continuous story made up of our choices, the fallout from those choices, and our duty to face it all together.
And the show leaves us with this final, absolutely haunting warning. The stories we tell, the wishes we make, the lessons we pass down, all of it has real power. It shapes the future. And as every character in this story learns in the most painful way possible, children are always, always listening.